Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. It's time to let go of negative thinking, understand why you do what you do and stop the self-sabotage with your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, your resident subconscious success mentor, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. If you want to stop self-sabotaging your own success and let go of the stress, then you are in the right place, my friend. Make sure you download your free Stressed to Success guided meditation at bit.ly/stress to success as my little gift to you just for being here. Please do subscribe, share and review. It really, really helps people that need to hear this message find us, and I so appreciate it. In the show notes, you'll also find details of how you can work with me and where you can get your mitts on my meditations, products, printables, programs. You can find it through the link in my bio on Instagram, which is my favorite place to hang out. So please do come join me over there at I'm Fran Excel. Tag me in your takeaways, slide into my DMs. I'm here for it. So that's the formalities over, my love. So let's jump to the content. If you focus on blame, things can't change. You know I love an existential question, but I also love to encourage people to what I call deal in truth with themselves, even if sometimes it's not pretty. So I invite you to put your curiosity hat on for this one and leave your judgment at the door, because if you can stop doing this one thing, it can make a profound difference to your life. I know, because I did it. Blame is an ego-led protection mechanism. So it might feel good in the moment to pass over blame to someone or something else, but it really doesn't help you in the long run. The more you blame, the less likely you are to change, and you're denying yourself the power to do so. Think about it. If you can blame someone or something else, then the onus isn't on you. Therefore, less motivation and less awareness of where you have the power to do something yourself. You're putting the responsibility onto someone or something else. Again, taking your power and your control away from the situation. Easy to see how this could be a sticking point in your own growth, right? But the only person you're cheating is you. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not talking about any situation where there are, people are being real victims or anything like this. I'm thinking about this from the perspective of, when just little things happen in life or in your business or things like that. Things happen or don't happen. So I really invite you to, with curiosity, take a look at where you blame external circumstances for not having the results you want. It's absolutely the path of least resistance to blame something or someone else. It's also a nice, easy way to avoid feeling vulnerable, right? I was big on blame for most of my life. It made me feel validated, provided me with endless excuses as to why I wasn't doing the things I wanted. But I don't beat myself up for that. It's a very, very human thing to do. Remember, 95 to 99% of what we do, we're not even doing consciously. Your ego is always going to try to protect you, your identity, your sense of self, your self-worth, your self-esteem. And an easy way to do that is to blame others. But my goodness, the self-compassion and breakthroughs that come out of accepting our part in certain situations is incredible and hugely empowering when you don't use it as a way to shame yourself. Yeah, it's about taking radical responsibility for yourself and your actions. Yeah, this is a really important thing to think about in this weird and crazy online world. But please understand what this behavior is at its core. It's a defense mechanism, a protection mechanism. Like I say, one I used to be really familiar with. It, of course, shows up from time to time, but I see it as an indicator for something else now. I don't beat myself up. I don't shame myself for it. It's interesting to me. It's like, ooh, why am I not taking responsibility there? I see it as an opportunity to question myself and get curious about what's present for me in that moment or situation or with that person. It's also blaming is a way easier than looking at the truth of a situation, right? It's far easier to make excuses or blame the moon, Mercury retrograde, another person, a program, a coach, our weight, our diet, the weather, the dog. You get the idea. It's far easier internally to believe it's not your fault, that you don't have the responsibility. But like I say, you're robbing yourself. I have done this most of my life when it comes to my weight and my health. I could always find an excuse. If you've been following me on Instagram, you'll know that I have arthritis in my knees, and that sucks. It's a real problem. But it also served me pretty well in some situations because I would be able to blame other things on it. So I wouldn't have to walk the dog, or, there was always a reason why I needed a seat, or, it allowed me to be a bit lazy, quite frankly. But I also used to have a lot of boy drama in my 20s. And this is something that doing the work that I do has been really, really interesting to look at with curiosity. People used to love chatting to me about my latest escapades and how awful they'd been. How I would moan about boys and things that they'd done or said. But genuinely doing this work has allowed me to see that I actually had a huge part to play in all of it. Because I'd had an emotionally abusive first relationship, I unconsciously would go for emotionally unavailable guys. There would always be a reason for it to not work out. That wouldn't be my fault. They were a notorious player. They were too young. Please bear in mind, back then, a 4-year age gap felt huge. Too good looking. Oh, yes. I managed that one for a while. Dated an Abercrombie and Fitch model. That was fun. Or they were fresh out of a long-term relationship. There was always something that meant it was kind of doomed from the start. They were in the wrong, and it wasn't my fault when it didn't work out. But I had unconsciously engineered it that way because of the other things that I was afraid of. Because unconsciously, I was terrified to be in a relationship because I feared vulnerability and a lack of control. I had a very skewed idea of what being in a relationship meant. So I caused myself the inevitable heartache in other ways. But it was never my fault. See how the behavior makes sense? So what might this look like for you? See, it was protecting me from something that my unconscious and my nervous system deemed more painful. Yeah. It was only accepting my own responsibility in those situations that meant I could meet someone who would love me for me, respect me, accept me. All going against my self-esteem and unconscious programming stories, right? I wouldn't have been able to meet Tobes if I hadn't figured this one out and decided that I'm worth more and that I have a part to play in my own decisions, behaviour and outcomes. So what could that be for you? What could that thing be that you are fearing that is worse than your outcome? Is it failure, success, judgment, something else? You might not always be able to catch it just before or in the midst of it, and that's okay. There's an opportunity to reflect and learn the lessons afterwards. Yeah. If a program that you paid for didn't work for you, did you do the work? If a course didn't work for you, did you ask questions? Awareness and responsibility lead to so much good stuff. It just might feel hard to stare at it in the face or admit to begin with, but it becomes easy once you realize how much power you have to do something about it. So where might you not be showing up? Where might you not be accepting responsibility or pushing the blame onto someone or something else? Where are you perhaps not using resources that you've paid for? It's a really common thing that I see in this online space. But it's really important, I think, to be able to stare this in the face with bravery and curiosity without the judgment, and be able to say, oh, yeah, that behavior makes sense because I'm scared of this thing over there. Yeah. It's also important to recognize when you might be on the receiving end as a business owner too, to be able to recognize what might be going on for someone else instead of taking it personally. So when you look for your responsibility, you also find your own power. And that's an incredible, incredible thing, gift that you get to give yourself. But it's not always pretty, right? So we avoid it. So just have a think, grab your journal. Where might this be going on for you? Where might this be playing out? Where might you be to avoid feelings that may feel worse for you? Where are you trying to avoid your own responsibility? Where can you take responsibility and therefore take your own power back? It's just something to ponder on. Because you are so much more capable than you're giving yourself credit for. And I know I say this all the time, but I genuinely mean it. I know it to be true. You are so much more capable than you are giving yourself credit for. So if you got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and start changing things for yourself, then join the Positive Pants Toolkit app and community so you can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. And if you want my eyes and ears on your problems, then I work with people one-on-one and through my programs. You can find all the details to join the toolkit or book in a call in the show notes, the link in my bio on Instagram, and on my website, franexcel.com. So stop waiting for if and when and choose to change things now, because you can. I'm here to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And as always, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you next week. Bye.